So Ready Player One. Ready Player One. Was this a good movie? It's different. It's different to the book. The book was a lot different in the fact that the themes, the challenges, the kind of things that the group overcome, that is what the group overcomes here again in this movie, and they're changed. So the movie starts off a lot different. The movie starts off with a kid who is really down on his luck. He's living with his auntie, and we've got someone in the movie who wasn't even a character in the book. It was the abusive kind of husband or boyfriend of his auntie, which is a lot different. It's Finchy from the UK office. It is also one of the dudes from Game of Thrones. I can't remember the exact name for Game of Thrones. He's one of the Greyjoys, and he's a lot different. He wasn't in the book. You've also got the fact that the character Parzival, the main character, wasn't actually obese. He wasn't really fat like he was in the TV in the book. Sorry, in the movie, he is like slender. They bulk him out. He looks a bit bulkier, but I think that's just because we're wearing baggy clothes. So the whole idea of his like self-loathing and the reason he becomes obsessed with Artemis is the fact that she is beautiful and he's interacting with a girl, which in reality he would never actually get. So that's one of the problems. One of the major gripes I have with the movie is the fact that, well, we never really understand why he's doing any of this. He's a relatively good-looking dude, which he isn't in the book. He lives in the Oasis. There's nothing else to do, but you know what? It's not really that bad, and it's a real shame that he doesn't actually kind of live out here in the real world. Which I feel that this movie, where in the book, the dude, Parzival, he has his best friends. He has H. He has a few of the others like IROC who are involved with him. IROC, if you've seen the movie, he'll be the dude who was the kind of betrayer, the kind of agent for Sorrento, which was really, really weird in the way they've changed that. So as the book unfolds, we kind of learn that, well, these Gunters have been looking for quite some time, and it's a real thing that they're not clanned up. They haven't joined a clan to help out. They haven't joined to do that. Kind of, they're really against it. They're really kind of elitist, which is something which you don't really get from this movie. Now, it's really strange that this actually happens, because we never really get the reason why they're doing any of this. And the reason is that Parzival was poor and H is really, really rich, and they kind of unite through this whole thing about hunting for the eggs. And we have to go through the book where we learn that he goes to school and he can't really afford to lose anything. He can't lose any of his book or like his gear. He can't lose anything, which is weird, because in here we never really learn that he is at risk of losing anything that much, when in the book it's presented a bit more, and he really is poor. And it's a real shame that we never really understand or get the whole idea behind this, because him, H, Artemis, all kind of, and Shaito and Doto, I think that's the other dude's name, they link in together and they work together as a unit, which is really, really weird, because in the book they're so anti kind of helping each other out. They're so anti sort of working together that here they just work together straight away. And that's one thing I think is a real shame in this movie, is that they never kind of get to the point, the idea that you may be playing multiplayer games, chatting with your friends, but when it comes to the real world, you're actually alone, and you've got to get ahead alone. Now, Ernest Cline did write this script with quite a few other people. He did work on the script as well. So it's really weird that this happened, and that he's really changed a lot of the story, which I think is a proper shame. It really is a shame that a lot of this changed. And the idea that IROC sort of turned on the group and didn't really want to help them out, and was really chewed out by H and Parsifal, even though IROC was a really rich gamer, and it really kind of feeds him with the gamer mentality of buying skins, paying to win, and things like that. So we never really get any of that at all, which is a shame, because I really liked how this worked out. I liked it in the book, while it's very on the nose with its story and everything like that, it's very on the nose with absolutely everything. Ernest Cline has never heard of subtlety whatsoever, and it's not really a well-written book, but it's an interesting book nonetheless. And we never really learn or see much of the nuances which make the book so interesting and parallel online gaming life, which is what we don't see in the movie. It's very much turned into a Spielberg movie. It's turned into kind of like those 80s or early 90s buddy movies where they go on a journey together, which, yes, I understand that it's a Spielberg movie, but the problem is it's not actually a Spielberg story. It's very far from that, and it seems like with the script, with the adaptation, they've turned it into a Spielberg buddy movie, which, do we really want that? Is that what we want? I love those movies, don't get me wrong, but this is an homage to gaming. This is an homage to popular culture, which, if you're kind of referencing the 80s and 90s or even the 70s with games and media, which is essentially what this is about. The movie is essentially about learning who Halliday was so you can unlock and take control of his life's work, which is not what we see here. In this movie, we actually don't get that. We just learn about his personality. We don't learn about what he liked. And that's a shame. We never really learn about Halliday, what made him tick, as in his media, the fact that he was removed from everything, which I thought was a shame again, that we never really see much of anything. The final quest in the game is one of the first ones in the actual book, so it switched around a bit, and the whole Shining thing introduced was really, really weird. But I have to say, the whole thing with the Shining looked really, really well. The way it was edited looked really good. It was really awesome the way that actually worked and the way they actually got that in. But it's weird you never saw Jack Nicholson's face. But the dichotomy, the way that Artemis and Parsifal worked together was really strange, because she very much begrudgingly liked him, and they meet at the end of the book, and we finally get that. And here we get it pretty much like in the first third of the movie, which is really, really odd. And the way that it's changed, it's just twisted on its head. And actually, one of the Japanese kind of mates who play together, one of them actually dies in the book, and that pretty much leads to the final act. And the way this works, admittedly in the book it was very long-winded and very much so. Oh, hello Raggy, how's it going, dude? Saw the movie yesterday. It's basically a callback to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s pop culture. There was a Wozniak and Steve Jobs type dichotomy which fit the story. Yes, there was. There was very much the Steve Jobs and Wozniak story, which I thought was really well done. I really didn't like the actor who played James Halliday, but his friend, the Simon Pegg character, I love the fact that Simon Pegg was in it. I wasn't expecting him to be in it. I didn't know that he was in the movie, and it's always nice to see him. But it's a movie about references, so I had to kind of expect the fact that we would actually be getting him here. I had to expect the fact that Simon Pegg would pop up in a movie all about references, which I thought was really, really kind of obvious that he would be the fit for that, because everything that Simon Pegg has done is to do with the past. I mean, one of his biggest Hollywood movies, which is, of course, Star Trek, that's references. That's a reboot. That is the past of geek culture. And that's what Spaced was, again, all about as well. oh, he won an Academy Award. I didn't know that. But I didn't like the way he played it, which I guess he plays that kind of reclusive quite well, I guess. But the way that the movie flowed was so different to the book, and in some ways it did work. The book was very much had lots of kind of filler in parts of it where in between each Easter egg there was so much downtime between each Easter egg. But there are parts where we learn about how Parsifal's life changes, about how he gets money, about things changing him. His obsession changes once he starts to get money, and he kind of loses sight of what he wanted to get out of it in the end. And it doesn't become much about a story about Parsifal. Here, it becomes a story about saving the internet, which is what he finally started to realise towards the end. We never really got the cocky Parsifal. And the actor who plays Parsifal, I'm not sure if I liked him. I'm not sure if I liked the actor who played him. I never really liked him in the actual movies, the X-Men movies. I never liked him in Age of Apocalypse. I thought it was a bit weak. I didn't think he had the screen presence to play Scott Summers whatsoever, which was a real shame because he's actually pretty good. But I do like Scott Summers, but this actor doesn't fit that role at all. Does he not fit that? But yeah, there is the Easter egg about the whole thing with Willy Wonka is very much it's very, very much like Willy Wonka in a way, which is something you never really saw at the end of the book, to be honest. And yes, his Halliday did feel like he had autism, which is pretty much what he had in the book. But the idea, I really did like the fact that Halliday's business partner helped him towards the end, helped the group, or at least helped Parsifal work out how to actually get towards the final part of the Easter egg. They worked together. So it was a shame that we never really saw much of that. A lot of the heart, I felt, was ripped out of the book, of the movie, sorry. However, I did kind of enjoy it a bit. It was just very much... I found it hard to see how they would make a movie of Ready Player One. But with it, we did actually get a lot of references. A lot of references were very cool. We had things like Harley Quinn, and we had one of the guys from StarCraft was actually... that avatar was Parsifal. And one thing about Parsifal I didn't like was the fact that he had to get a job, because he had to get a job within the Oasis, and that was the loyalty centres, which basically got turned into slave labour. However, in the book it was handled much, much better. I felt it was handled a lot better in the way that you had to work in customer service, which is very much a slight on customer service. But overall, it just didn't fit. I didn't think it was that good. I didn't think it was adapted that well. Maybe it's the fact that the story didn't fit in a movie. Maybe it was just too hard to actually make a movie about saving the internet. Or it was the fact that maybe I've read the book and I didn't enjoy it that much. But I feel that if I didn't read the book, I still wouldn't have enjoyed this movie. It felt simplistic. The start of the movie felt terrible. And I have to feel that the TJ guy, the actor who plays IROC, was completely wasted, because he was one of the funniest things in the movie. And Ben Mendelsohn, again, completely phoned in his performance here in Ready Player One. Fantastic in Rogue One. But in Ready Player One, he just wasn't really that good, which was a shame, because he is actually a good actor, and he's going to be in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie, which I'm hoping he plays it a bit better there, when, to be honest, he needed to be a bit better here. But time will only tell on this movie. Maybe I'm wrong here. But let me know what you think about this movie, and let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon, and goodbye.